as a fan, I want to see that. I want to see the limits of Jon Jones. Yes, John, we want to see your limits, bro. You know, you're the greatest of all time. And like I said, I came here watching your greatness, making me want to test my own.
Jamahal! Sweet dreams!
What's going on, fight fans? We have UFC 309 Stipe Miocic versus Jon Jones this week in MSG, New York City. I'm sorry I'm a little late getting to this card. Wasn't able to do a War Council. I'm in camp right now. Fight to be announced soon, hopefully. But in camp, things are going, things moving around. Things are busy right now, so wasn't able to put together a War Council. Plus, I'm not at the studio. Wasn't able to get this out sooner, so I'm able to get this now. I'm not gonna go through the whole card. I'm gonna go through a few cards. I'm gonna shout out a few of them on it, but I'm mainly gonna stick to the top three cards on top three fights on the card as far as my breakdown. But yeah, as y'all can see, I got the Papa hat going. You know what I mean? My old school swag. We got the old heads, OGs going at it this weekend. So it feels right. It feels right. So without further ado, Stipe Miocic versus Jon Jones. Yeah, it's a pretty decent card. I don't know who they are. I don't know who these guys are. So I'm only gonna kind of stick to the ones that I know. You know, I'm not even gonna talk much about them. Damon Jackson versus Jim Miller. This is a solid fight. In my eyes, it's gonna play out a lot of different ways. You know, Jim Miller with the grappling, Damon Jackson with the pressure and the wrestling. I think this is a pretty solid fight. If I had to get an edge on one, I'd probably get an edge to Jim Miller because of the boxing. But solid fight. Eryk Anders versus Chris Weidman. I think it's another fight that has the possibility of being a brawl. I'll probably give the edge to Weidman in this one because of the wrestling as well, mixed with the striking. Eryk tends to get a little wild and sloppy. You know, it's all love, mitten gang all the way. Just saying fighting analytically how I see it. I'd probably give the edge a little bit to Chris in this one. Jonathon Martinez versus Marcus Mcgee. This fight, a banger. This is an absolute banger. This fight should actually be on the main card, if you ask me. Marcus is a dangerous stand-up guy. I believe he's a Muay Thai practitioner who also has good boxing ability, as well as Chris Martinez with the Muay Thai. He's got good kicks, and it's gonna be a really good fight. I really don't know which way to call it. Honestly, if I had to lean more towards one or the other, I'm leaning a little bit more towards Marcus because of his ability to create offense as well as his ability to counter. I think his hands are a little bit better, a little bit more better with the timing and fast. Like I said, I don't know him. Going on to the main card, we got Bo Nickal versus Paul Craig. Good matchup, man. Good matchup. I see what they're doing with this one. Setting Bo up to try to push his name, kind of push him forward. Still so in the rankings. You got a guy in Paul Craig who's been up against the top level in a couple of different weight classes now. Always resilient, always dangerous. Those odds are crazy. The odds on this fight are absolutely insane. Plus 800. Bro, it's a fight. End of the day, it's a fight. Paul Craig is nasty at grabbing submissions. He's nasty. When he gets a submission going, and he can be tricky. When you think you're going for one thing, he can slip and go and get you with something else. I have first-hand experience with this, all right? Motherfucker took my arm, didn't give it back until it was all fucked up. So yeah, definitely Paul Craig is dangerous off of his back, and Bo Nickal will be looking to put him on his back with his wrestling. Now, let's get into it. Let's break it down. So, Paul's biggest deficiency is his stand-up, right? His striking defense and his movement standing. He actually, whenever he's throwing his kicks and he's feeling his kicks, and he actually has some good movement, he has the ability to do decently standing up, right? Bo Nickal drop bombs. Bo Nickal has has decent ability to land punches. I'm not gonna say his boxing is really like that because I haven't really seen it or seen anything to indicate that he's just been working boxing. But he's able to land punches. He's good at getting punches. He's fast on his feet, in and out, and he's not worried about being taken down. He's looking for the takedown. This guy's one of the most decorated grapplers outside of MMA, like of all time. Collegiately wrestling, he's one of the most. He's probably the most decorated collegiate wrestler of all time. So he's not too much worried about the game. This is what makes the matchup so crazy. Paul Craig wants to get it to the ground. Bo wants to get it to the ground. But however, I see Bo Nickal trying to turn this into a highlight reel knockout. For me, Paul Craig is dangerous off his back with the number of submissions and things that he does. While Bo has been wrestling, he hasn't been doing jiu-jitsu as long as a Paul Craig has, right? So there is danger of him getting hit with a submission or getting caught with something that he don't know. I think the lesser danger for Bo in this one, because of his athleticism and how fast and his ability to move his feet, he has better footwork and movement. I think he could strike. I think he could come out and put some heavy, hard strikes on Paul and can rattle him, rock him early on. Like I said, he has that good, fast in and out movement, and he does have good timing of coming in and landing shots. We've seen it against the I forget who the short guy was with the mohawk that he was. So Bo already does have a knockout. Paul needs to get his kicks going. I don't think Paul should just come out and try to just force a grappling exchange and try to work his way off his back and hunt for a submission off of his back. I don't think that's the way, the path to victory. And Paul Craig's wrestling isn't the best, right? So when he shoots for takedowns, he don't have the best shots, the best single legs and transitions. So the chances of him actually shooting and taking Bo down and ending up in a good position on him, chances aren't very high. So I don't think he should do that. I think Paul should work behind his kicks. Paul has really good kicks. He may not believe in his kicks like that, but he does have good kicks. He can chop the leg. I'd say chop the leg of Bo. Chop at the leg, hit him with some T kicks, kind of soften him up from the outside before he's able to enter. Like I said, Bo has the ability to land good hard punches, but he don't have the experience to be able to just find range and just piece him up like that without getting. The only way Bo's piecing him up like that is if Bo's just that first initial punch forward is just catching Paul, right? And I believe that by throwing kicks, he would force Bo to have to use footwork and actual technique to enter to get to those punches. So I think that Paul Craig should definitely be load up the kicks, fire the kicks. Have them hot and ready and keep them coming. Switch them up from low to the legs, the body. Obviously, Bo Nickal would then be trying to look to take him down, but at least then you're forcing the exchange and you're forcing a reaction. And in that takedown and in that you can actually set up some grips and some things like that and set up some positioning on your way to the ground to help you try to get into those submissions and get into that bag of work where he can kind of put him into a blend of threatening submissions. But that's what I think that Paul Craig should do. And Bo Nickal, box him. I think he should come in heavy. He should look to corner Paul, walk him down, put him in the corner, look to land big shots and look for a takedown. Look to get to the takedown. But I think it should be a takedown to where he's not in guard. I believe like his single leg first. Snatch a single leg, get him down, but don't blast double your way into his guard. I don't think that's somewhere that Bo Nickal should be. I think as long as Bo Nickal isn't operating within Paul Craig's guard, can get to like a half guard or side control. I think he could do some damage on the ground. He could do a lot of damage on the ground because, like I said, he's got that wrestling background and those wrestling credentials. Yeah. For the most part, that's how I see this fight. Probably lean more towards Bo in this one, just because of I believe that his athleticism and his grappling, he has a grappling advantage, and Paul Craig is majority finishes fights off the ground. But like I said, plus 800 is insane. And if you want to try to throw some money on something to make a little something back. Hey, Paul Craig by submission is not a bad bet. Going back up to the rematch, Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler, part 2. All right. Well, the way I see this fight is kind of like, first one, we haven't seen Michael Chandler since that year in which they fought and met the last time. Charles Oliveira's been a little bit more active. I did see Michael Chandler has sculpted his body different. He's not so much more as just stock and a lot of bulk. He's slimmed it up and like trimmed it down to where he's not carrying so much muscle mass to where he can probably, which I think will make him a little bit faster, be able to have more durability because muscle takes a lot of oxygen to move. When you got that heavy, bulky muscle, that's what it seems to drain people a lot. And that's one of Mike's problems. Mike comes out 100 miles an hour, and he's able to beat up on guys, and then that gas tank kind of hits him and it zaps, and he kind of fades off. And that gets him in trouble. That gets him in trouble, as it did in the Oliveira fight the first time. He kind of hurt Oliveira, was on him, looking to finish the fight. Got a little overzealous, and then second round came out not as much energy and not as much fire, and got caught. He got caught with a slight hook in an exchange, and Charles was able to get the finish. How do I see this fight? So one of my biggest things with Mike is how he enters, right? He has a tendency at times to enter off of a lunge or just like a long step to get in. I like to see a little bit more chopping footwork, a little bit more of the little chopping footwork, the little steps to get your way enter, which for him in this fight is going to take a little bit more feints. He needs to feint in this fight before he enters. I think feints and selling on Charles Oliveira on something before he enters would be huge for Michael Chandler in this fight. If he's able to, get him to bite off of something, and then Charles get an attack or draw something out of Charles, and then he's able to counter, and he lands good, and then he's able to counter and counter with a combo using that power and that explosiveness that he has. I believe he could be able to catch Oliveira and put the fight away, and use his takedowns. Use that lesson. Use his takedowns if he's getting cornered. I believe blending it in just to mix it up. I don't believe he should engage Charles on the ground off of his back, just because we know the submission danger of a Charles Oliveira and the things that he's done in his career. I believe that, but just blasting him into the cage, tying him up, making him work, making him sprawl. I believe those are all things that can help Michael Chandler force Charles Oliveira into work, which I believe will ultimately make him be able to corner him. The biggest thing that Mike needs to do in this fight, he needs to corner Oliveira. He needs to corner him and then let his shots go, but let him go with good footwork and good entries and off of feints. Charles Oliveira, Michael Chandler's dangerous. He's got big power, big explosiveness, he's really athletic. Charles Oliveira just needs to do what Charles Oliveira does for the most part. Kind of just stay in that nice, good shell. Keep himself protected. Whenever he explodes big, neutralize the explosion, and then piece him up with combos, with the hooks, the straights, just to cook quick, short, powerful, effective shots. I believe are the key. Just very good tight defense and good basic shots, but powerful and effective from Charles Oliveira and walking forward from there. I believe Charles Oliveira needs to get Michael Chandler in a position where he's on his back foot and he needs to walk him down. If Charles Oliveira can get him to that point to where he's walking him down and he's got him on his back foot, I believe he can get the win that way. Also, Charles, leg kicks will be a huge thing for Charles. I believe he should implement leg kicks to chop down Mike's legs to kind of take away from that power and that explosiveness. And I believe Mike should actually implement a teep kick to kind of break the range and set, of Oliveira. Just kind of the way he stands, the way he kind of sits, and he wants to sit in position while he neutralizes your strikes, so that way he's in position. He's still got good base under him to counter you. So a good way to do that would be a teep kick to kind of get him to jerk in his body, kind of get him moving and get that balance and that base off just a little bit. That's how I see that fight. Heading on to the main event of the evening. A year and some change in the making. Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic. Who's that called him? I forget who it was. Somebody called him Stipe Miocic or Miocic or something like that once, and it was just the funniest pronunciation of his name to me, and it's kind of been stuck in my head. But here we are. Another huge underdog favorite in this one. Man, how do I see this, man? How do we see this? So Stipe is a little bit taller. He's got about an inch of height on him. Jon has about 4.5 inches of reach. So Jon will be the longer fighter of the two paws. Jon's the younger of the two. And I would give Jon the grappling advantage. Stipe, I'd give him the advantage striking. As far as the boxing goes, the kicks I'd give to Jon. In the clinch, because of how long Jon Jones' arms are and how he uses them to frame and create pockets and ways to throw elbows and things of that nature, I'd probably give him the edge in there too. So how do I see it? All right. The big challenge here is Stipe taking out Jon Jones, right? Nobody's ever done it. Nobody's ever been able to beat Jon Jones, take him out, whatever, right? So that's the giant. That's the thing that we're seeing, looking to see done. You know, Stipe's last fight was, I'd say, 3 years ago. 2021, in March of 2021 was the last time we saw Stipe Miocic fight. He's 42 at this point, I believe, and that last fight was a knockout. That he suffered a knockout at the hands of Francis Ngannou. So he hasn't won in a while either. I don't know, man. But fighting is fighting. It's a natural. Once you've been doing it as long as you have the experience of a Stipe, it's a natural thing. So I get that. But here's the thing, right? Stipe has to get in Jon Jones' face, right? If Stipe is able to make this a fight to where Jon Jones can't take him down, and he's able to just create pocket boxing scenarios where he's letting his hands go inside the pocket, Stipe wins that fight all day long. Inside the pocket, boxing, that's where Stipe needs to be. He's got to get in the range. He's got to close that range. He's got to get in his face, but he's got to do it in a way where Jon can't just snatch a leg, can't just go low and try to take him down. You know, and but he can't kick him. That's the thing. That's one of the biggest puzzles about a Jon Jones is the kicks. That T kick, that oblique kick to the knee. He's gonna use that. The way Stipe stands is Stipe is very, very square. Or we talk. I'm gonna get over into that. But that's the thing. You get him when he's kicking you, so you can't really stay back at range. Plus, he has the longer range. He has the longer range with the hands. But I believe Stipe's boxing kind of negates that range as far as the arm reach goes. But the kicks are a problem from Jon Jones. He still can hit you with punch you and hit you with some shots, and things of that nature. But when you get close, he can grab you. The tackle, the wrestling, that Greco-Roman background or whatever that he has in the collegiate wrestling. He's a very, very good wrestler. Jon made his bones early on as a wrestler. So you got that problem whenever you try to cut that range and you want to get close to him. Whoo, man, yeah, Stipe's got a test in front of him. So Stipe's gonna have to get in the boxing range. He's gonna have to fight him inside of boxing range, and he's gonna have to be while being able to keep his feet well up under him, land combinations and land good shots, but also be stuffed to takedowns. So he's gonna have to win in the clinch as well. I believe he can do that as long as he stays tight and he stays short within, and he don't try to open up. Don't open up too much to where you expose yourself too much, if he's able to stay tight and stay short shots within the pocket, I believe that's where Stipe's road to victory is. Stipe has to fight Jon Jones inside the pocket. He has to get in close and he has to fight him in the pocket and turn it into a boxing match. Jon Jones, the oblique kick. That oblique kick is gonna be money. It's gonna be there. Stipe stands very square. Stipe's stance is very boxing heavy. You know, and it's like we're talking square boxing. These guys are heavyweight. He's not meeting a bunch of guys that are darting, moving around like Cyril Gane would, like a Cyril Gane would, like, you know, athletically and light on his feet like that. So that oblique kick 100% is gonna be there. Stipe's never been really one of like a lot of chopping, like a lot of footwork, a lot of movement. He's kind of slowly stalks you down. So Jon work at his legs. Oblique kick to his legs. Chop that kick. Chop the leg with the leg kick. Teep kicks up the middle. I think it'll be money. It'll be money in this one. Just kind of because of from how the way he stands. The only thing with the teep kicks for Jon is you can't throw them too close. You can't just sit out there and just fire them. They're gonna have to be set up. They have to be from the outside, behind something. They should be behind something, 100%. Because Stipe, I believe he's going to be trying to push in and mesh and close in that distance. And you just lift up your leg and throw a teep kick, and the guy's able to get his hand on it in range. He's gonna hit you. He's gonna swing. He's gonna be looking to swing and catch you from that. So there's that. Then there's the get him down, get him on his back, and use that length that Jon Jones has to fire those elbows, get to those elbows, and get to that ground and pound, and get to that groundwork, and beat him up on the ground there. So yeah, for Jon, I believe his striking, if it is on the route of striking, he's gonna have to work behind his kicks. He's gonna have to work behind his kicks a lot. He can also slide in some good boxing. You're gonna have to slide in some well-timing, good choice boxing, we'll say. Well-timing, good choice boxing. Like, bang, hit him with the jab here. All right, bang, I can slide. All right, I throw the kick here. All right, he's coming in. As he's stepping out, I need to back him out. Step out with this little step-out hook or this overhand. I got this overhand here after I made him retreat. Things like that. Yeah, that's pretty much, for the most part, how I see this fight. It's going to be a hell of a card. Can't wait to watch it. And real quick, while we on the subject of Jon Jones, I was sent the clip where I seen about Jon Jones mentioning my name, about it'd be a fun fight, a great fight to meet up at a heavier weight to, you know what I mean, to get the fans a good fight, to give them a fun fight, you know what I mean, something that's exciting, something that's a good matchup. And you already know I'm game. 100% I'm game. That's why I'm here. I said it from the time I was on the Contender Series. I seen Jon Jones. I seen his greatness, and I seen the things that he was doing, and it made me want to test myself and see how great that I could be. And that was a challenge that I took on, and I made my way to the UFC to have that fight. For a while, I believe that the fight was out of reach. You know, I believe Jon was going to do his thing. He's going to retire. So I kind of started making an idea with the fact that it will never happen. But for me to hear him say that, to me, is a dope thing, because that means I put myself now in a position of the GOAT wants to share will want to share the cage with me. You know, that's dope, bro. That's dope. You know, for anybody that like maybe played basketball, it was probably like if like getting to the league and Michael Jordan wanting to, you know what I mean, wanting to hoop against you, wanting to play against you and everything like that, being on the court with him and like that and all those things. So, you know, I'm gonna say 100% I do respect Jon, and I respect everything that he not everything that he stood for, but I've respected the things that he stood for as far as an inspiration for fighters. You know what I mean, young men like myself and himself. You know, to see that we can achieve and go for great things. Now, we got to address the other thing, right? He also mentioned a few other names, a Derek Lewis and Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira was the first name that he mentioned. He don't like Tom Aspinall. You're not feeling Tommy too much. To me, and by the way I'm thinking of it, you know, That shit weird. It's weird. It's weird. All right. Because here's the thing, right? Alex don't have the wrestling to hang with Jon Jones. He don't have the wrestling to hang with Jon Jones, and that's more of a craft on his game to where he'll go to that. He'll take Pereira down, and he knows this. Derek Lewis the same. So I'm pretty much the best grappler that he mentioned in that whole thing, right? And we're of a similar build and size. So it ain't slick, bro, as far as that goes. You know, and 100%, I believe I'll be game. And like I said, I was here to beat Jon Jones, and I'd love to test myself against that. Just as much as whenever I said I just wanted to know a question I wanted to answer about if I was good enough to be champion things. This is another question. This is the question is right up there with that, is competing against Jon Jones. But I think he should fight Tom Aspinall. Be honest with you. Tom is the interim champion. He's the heavyweight champion. Winner of this fight should 100% fight Tom Aspinall. And John throws is saying he's throwing his resume out, like who is he? Like who is Tom Aspinall? What does he do for me? And all these things. Well, you fought a lot of guys that could have said the same thing about you, bro. And that's just that's just homage to the game. You know what I mean? Like giving the young dog his shot. I think I would look at this more so like whenever Floyd fought Canelo, right? Whenever Floyd fought Canelo, what did Floyd really have to gain from fighting? You know what I mean? Other than the fact of, oh, you got this young dog who one day he's gonna lead the next generation. And look at what Canelo became, and Floyd had a win over him. Floyd was the one that tamed him at the point. You know what I mean? At that young dog to let y'all see the level. So I believe that there is that factor in it for Jon Jones to fight a Tom Aspinall. But from a technical thing, like that, I think of it from knowing what I know about fighting and how I've looked at it. You got to look at the history of Jon Jones, right? Jon Jones came into the fight game at the right time. You know what I mean? But at the time when Jon Jones entered, there weren't many athletes. You know what I mean? Like there were fighters, but they weren't athletes. You get what I'm saying? Whenever he fought everybody. Right? Came in, Ryan Bader, solid. Ryan Bader was undefeated. You know, I believe Matt Hamill was undefeated too. You know what I mean, if we keep going down. But from the time it was at the title run, the title stage, Shogun is about 6 foot, right? He's like, Shogun's maybe 6 foot tall. 6'1", something like that. So Jon had a significant height and reach advantage over Shogun. And that was apparent in the fight because he pieced him up pretty good. Rampage was a little taller, about 6'2". Lyoto's about 6 foot, 6'1". Rashad's about 6 foot. Belfort's about 6 foot, 6'1". Chael's about 6 foot, 6'1". And these guys are middleweights. You know, Chael, Vitor, middleweight. Lyoto was a 205er, but as opposed to today, and when I say this, I mean as in today's game. As in today's game, for as far as size wise, these guys would be middleweights. Rashad would have been a middleweight. Lyoto would have been a middleweight. Shogun would have been a middleweight. Chael was a middleweight. All right. Then he got to the Gustafsson fight, and Gustafsson was of a similar height and build to Jon. And we all seen that fight. Some people feel that Gustafsson won that fight. I was one of the people who feel Jon won the fight. Jon 100% won the fight. The way he performed, what he pushed through in the 5th round, he 100% took that fight in that 5th round in my mind. But it was close. It was close. We saw him take it down for the first time, and we saw a lot of things saw him tested in a lot of different ways that we hadn't seen him tested. You know, after that was the Glover Teixeira fight. Glover Glover is about 6'2", 6'1", 6'2" as well. Whenever I fought Glover, if after you're able to, if you take out his initial spring, it's a little bit harder for him to get to you because I have a longer reach and I'm a little taller. John has a longer reach and is a little taller than I am. You know, so then the DC fight. DC's like 5'10", 5'11". DC's like 5'10", 5'11". You know, granted, one of the most skilled of I'd say of 205 in the heavyweight, DC's probably the most skilled of all. Like with his ability to box and clinch, and plus mix that with his wrestling, DC was highly skilled. But I believe the biggest thing for him was he couldn't get over the physical attributes that were of Jon Jones. Plus, he was 36 and Jon Jones was in his mid-20s. Then you go to the OSP fight. Jon Jones fought OSP. OSP, almost a similar size to Jon Jones. And I believe his forearm was broken in the second round. And this fight still went to decision. You got the no-gondas with DC and in the DC era. Then the Gustafsson fight, which is good. Hey, he whooped Gus in this one. One thing I didn't like in this fight, I didn't like the ending sequence, the first few shots that landed to the back of the head. Were my only thing with this one. I remember watching it live. Anthony came in. He put it on Anthony in this fight. And Anthony is of a similar height and things like that. But I've heard stories where my man was nervous in this fight, where like he had like almost like a panic attack. But when guys are of a similar size, it's a little bit more difficult. Is all I'm saying. So all I'm saying is I'm not discounting the resume, saying like any of these dudes are trash or anything. I'm just saying they're whenever fighters are of a similar height and size to Jon Jones, he does struggle with that a little bit more. Santos is a little bit taller. So he's split decision. Dominic Reyes, a lot of people feel like he won that fight. Again, Jon won that fight. Jon won the fight against Reyes. I don't care anybody out there. You go and you look at the control in the cage and the moment and yes, Reyes had moments, but for the most part, Jon controlled a good portion of that fight. He controlled enough, I believe, to win that fight. Was it close? Yes. Do I think Jon won? Yes. But he struggled in this fight, and he did have troubles in this fight with Reyes' length and ability to be able to move with that little bit more of that athleticism. That's when the athleticism of the heavyweight kind of started to shift, right? Around Reyes was kind of like that turning point, that alert to the athleticism and the size is starting to come. Then he comes back and he takes out Cyril Gane. Cyril Gane, we saw get wrestled to death, damn near, by Francis Ngannou. We watched the evolution of Francis's wrestling, so we know Francis can wrestle. I believe a lot of his wrestling prowess comes from the fact he's a really strong guy, so I believe that had a lot to do with it, but it also showed that if you're strong plus you have technique, you can definitely beat Cyril Gane with your wrestling. And I believe Jon Jones took advantage of that in their fight. So I say all of that to say Tom Aspinall is of that size. He's bigger than Jon as far as build and bulk wise, and height wise they're around similar, same height. I believe Jon has a little bit more reach. And like he said, and Jon acknowledged this. He acknowledged we've never seen that. And that's something that we want to see. We want to see a guy that can give him that challenge. As a fan, I want to see that. I want to see the limits of Jon Jones. Yes, Jon, we want to see your limits, bro. You're the greatest of all time. And like I said, I came here watching your greatness, making me want to test my own. So, of course, I want to see your greatness tested against a Tom Aspinall, who looks like he's the next generation at heavyweight and going to own that spot for some time with what we're seeing in his attributes and the things that he can do, at least until I get up there. Big Tommy, I already told you, boy. We had talk. It's all love and everything, but still, competitors. But yeah, Jon, we want to see it, man. We want to see the greatest tested. We want to seeing your greatness test and seeing you try helps other people believe in theirs. So that's That's just a part of that, and that's just part of what comes with the title of that. And I'm one of those guys that want to see it. I'm 100% one of those guys that want to see it. 100% I want to fight you too. I mean, save some for me. I mean, pause. Save some for me. I want to get in there. I want to mix it up with you and everything too. You know, that's why I got here. That'd be a huge dream as things like that come true. But from a fan standpoint, I do want to see that fight. I'm not gonna hold you. Yeah, man. I guess I kind of wanted to close this out also to mention the tonight, because I'm recording this Friday, the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight is happening, and it is the dumbest shit ever. I don't like this. I don't like this fucking fight. I don't like seeing a legend, somebody who's respected, who put their time in and did they shit like Mike Tyson did, putting his name out there for somebody like a Jake Paul to take advantage of because youth and time is on his side. You know what I mean? Yeah, Mike does look good. I've seen the training videos. He looks good. He looks in shape. He looks like a legend. And he does have knowledge within himself that surpasses anything that Jake Paul could have learned in the time that he's even thought about boxing. Right? But I worry about the physical, the actual physical. Father Time is undefeated. Jake Paul's in his 20s. Mike is almost 60. Can he catch Jake? Can he hit Jake Paul and knock him out? I believe so. It's just the fatigue of whenever you in there in a fight. And I don't believe Mike has fought, like has honestly, truly fought since Jake's been in puberty. You know what I'm saying? So it's an insane thing. On Jake Paul's thing, I get it. Because the love and respect that Mike Tyson holds amongst the boxing community, if he goes in there and he knocks Mike Tyson out, there's not a boxer alive that he can't fight. Everybody's going to want to take his head off. Everybody's going to want a piece of Jake Paul at that point. And then at that point now, I told you. He always said, I'm never going to get the club fight. You're never going to respect me enough. But he can piss you off, and he can piss enough people off enough. If he goes in and knocks Mike Tyson out, that they will be willing to go and try to get that one back in some blood. It is what it is. I guess we all here for it. We here to watch it. I'm gonna be tapped into the UFC. I don't really do the whole prop boxing thing much, but figured it was worth a little speaking and talking to. Yeah, appreciate y'all. Hopefully a fight announcement coming soon. I can't wait to announce a huge fight. I know y'all gonna love it. And I'm training. I'm back to work, getting at it, ready to go, and can't wait to be back, baby. Let's go. Sweet Dreams Nation. Love you, boy.